Yeah. There are 200 professors, or we can say academicians are there. So I'm expecting at least one person will, because it should not be a one-way communication. So what do you mean by outcome-based education?
Ma'am, may I?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sir. Yeah.
Uh, I think outcome-based education is the kind of education in which uh, result which is expected can be measured.
Okay. Uh,
Uh,
Yeah, you are a little bit, but still we have to redefine this thing, whatever you have mentioned, because in traditional education also we were measuring the result. Okay, but let me just redefine or redesign this thing. And
Actually,
so
this is, I think, in this outcome is previously defined. Uh,
yes, that's the beauty of this education. Yes, you have rightly mentioned, sir, about this matter. So we'll talk about this the first. When anything is there, we you know that we are always thinking that is there any benefit? Yes, there are benefits. It's a more directed and coherent curriculum. Our graduate will be more relevant to the industry or other stakeholders wherever they will be employed. So more well-rounded graduates that we are going to prepare using this outcome-based education, or we can say in the institute, those who are implementing that, this outcome-based education, continuous quality improvement, the CQI that normally in pharma industry are talking about the CQI, this institute, academic institute is also when they are following this, CQI is in place in that institution. So we can say that this educational system, it does not mean I have studied or you have professors might have studied, you have not studied properly. Yes, but this what is the difference? Earlier, you know this, it's a lot big transition. The transition from what? Transition from transmission of expert knowledge. Earlier, we used to give a expert knowledge to a student. Okay, we are just transmitting from our brain or from our book or from our study material to this. We can say this just transmission goes to this. We can say students' brain, or we can say and they are able to recollect and they are just able to this. We can say that right in the examination. But this transition from this type of system to we are building learner competencies that include these two most important thing. And at the end also I'll say that if your student will learn these two most important thing throughout your course, then you can say you will be the successful teacher. So we can say that the one thing that in transition we are including learning to learn. We are this preparing students, they are learning to learn. Okay, so that's the one thing. And second is that lifelong learning attitude that we are developing. So these are the two most important thing. Or in short, we can say outcome based education is an educational theory that bases each part of an educational system, each part. So it may be assessment, it may be designing, it may be delivery, it may be anything. Each part of educational system around that is moving around the goals, or we can say outcomes. So very quickly, why not traditional education and why we are talking about this outcome based education? Of course, pre 2004, it was content or teaching oriented. Just understand this thing. And if even though in 2022, if we will really evaluate our teaching, here there is no need to evaluation from your senior, from your subordinate, or from your principal, but just evaluate yourself. It is content or teaching oriented, but outcome based education, it is a method of curriculum design and teaching that focuses on what student can actually do after they are taught. So we know from the beginning that what student will learn, what student will be able to do once I will complete this course. And second is that is assessment is secondary in traditional education. Here the assessment is the key. The next is that is detailed planning is not first we are doing in technical this traditional education. We have a syllabus and everything, but in OBE we are doing very good planning. This relevant content we were examining and we are teaching and examining. Here the desired outcome is first selected, and this assessment is created to support this intended outcome. If then earlier these graduates are not completely prepared, we were prepared but not completely prepared for the workforce. But here we can say we are emphasizing on this soft skill a lot, and this desired outcome will be there. This the most another important thing is earlier learning outcome is variable. Time is fixed. Here learning outcome is fixed. Time is variable. And as a teacher, earlier we were guardian of curriculum. We were always focusing like that. I have taught this thing. My lecture was good. Okay, I have referred these books. I have completed my course planner. I have done this examination. I have evaluated all this thing. Everything is me, me, me. Okay. Now we have to think about this, what my students got after my lecture. They really learned this tip. So we are just transitioning from this or shift from this guardian of curriculum to we have to become a teacher as facilitator and guide. And I can say that whatever introduction they have given, this 30 years back also I was teaching as a teacher. Every day improvement I can find, and I'm very happy this AICT had this felicitated, and really this that's a matter of pride for me for this Best Vishwesharya Teachers Award. And still, I can say that there are a lot many things to learn for us, and that continuous improvement, not at the institute level, but at teacher level, it's very much important for the successful implementation of outcome-based education or NEP. So I've already discussed about this, what is outcome-based education. So we can focus on what to do, what students can do, or the qualities they should develop after they are taught. And we are focusing on a higher order of learning. Both the structure and curriculum are designed to achieve all these capabilities and qualities. That is the important thing. We can say that it requires demonstrate that students have learned and require skill and content. So I'm not going into theoretical. Let's go ahead. So yeah. So this outcome-based education, they are following this addresses. So this first is that is outcome-based education that we have discussed. The another is that is the outcome-based curriculum. So in outcome-based curriculum, we are focusing on what the student should be able to do. You have to, as a teacher, ask every day whenever you are going to your class or whenever you are starting this course, you should be able to understand that what my student will be able to do. That objective should be clear, and that's nothing but the attributes. This, because so many times we are saying about the attributes, okay, we will just mug up all these attributes given by this NBA, and that, no, you should find out that what are the attributes will be developed after when you are just this completing your course. The next is that is the outcome-based learning and teaching. How to make student achieve the outcome. And that's the important thing that we have to focus as a teacher. And another thing that is the key element is outcome-based assessment. How to measure what the student has achieved. Whether this simple examination that are really assessing that the outcome that we have decided or pre-decided outcome, that's the important thing. And finally, so many institutes may be doing all this thing. They are preparing all this POs, COs, mapping and everything. But somewhere we are forgetting about this closing the loop, whether we are doing this continuous quality improvement or not. And that's important. So let's ask questions to us. As a teacher, are we providing information to the students? Yes. What we are assessing in exam? Memory and reproducibility. We are writing that, we are asking that this enlist this thing, classify this thing. So this is write a short note on this. So memory and reproducibility that we are checking. Are we developing skills like analytical, critical thinking, communication, creativity? Yes. Through case studies, because so many teachers, they are using this case studies and presentation. Are we developing team spirit? Whenever team spirit and leadership is there, then we are always saying that yes, through sports. So are we developing entrepreneurship quality? Mostly we can say we are doing spoon feeding of students. Okay, entrepreneurship quality, for that we are arranging this only workshop, and that is not the only sufficient. So agenda should be what? We have to provide knowledge. We have to just go for it to develop critical thinking and creativity. We have to assess that thing, and we have to continuously go for a debate, game, puzzle, life projects, applications, blog, and these are the things that being a means 21st century teacher, we all have to use this thing. We have to organize tasks, able to plan, propose solution to problems, and market that problems also, and training provided to become a job givers. Okay, we are always focusing only on the job seekers. So instead of that, start thinking in this direction that even though our few students will become entrepreneur, they will become a job givers instead of job seekers. And that is the need of an hour in India. So this, let's outcome based education. If I'm just summarizing, starting with a clear picture of what is important for student to be able to do. The one gentleman's one professor had discussed same thing. We should very thoroughly able, or before starting anything, we should know that what our students should able to do this thing, and then organize the curriculum, then organize the delivery, how you will do, then organize the assessment to make sure that learning happens on. So just from teaching to focus to learning, from me to student. So that's the important thing in outcome-based education. So let's start with this key constituent of outcome-based education, that is vision, mission, program educational objectives. Majority people are knowing this, participants are knowing this thing. Program educational objectives, program outcomes, program specific outcomes, course outcomes. These are the major elements or key constituent of outcome-based education. So let's start with designing of this thing. I have already mentioned, we will talk first about designing, and in next session, we will talk about this, or we can say the last, about mapping and how we can calculate this attainment. Okay. So vision and mission. Vision is always futuristic statement. Why I have given or kept this slide specifically, because as a mentor, I am so lucky that I got this mentorship from this our vice chancellor. He had nominated me for mentoring these institutes, that is GTU affiliated institutes, and they are aspiring for the NAC accreditation, because having this our institute NAC accredited since 2010, and in second cycle we have a 10 A grade, as well as we can say that NBA accreditation since 2013, we applied in 2011. So 2 cycles of NBA accreditations are over. So being this mentor, when I went to that institute, that I found that vision that was prepared long back, and this vision mission that was not in alignment. So it is possible, because maybe when the starting that vision may be prepared by this management people or one or two people, but this vision mission, that preparation should be with the help of stakeholders. So it's very much important. Vision should be futuristic statement. Mission statements should be essentially mean to achieve the vision. Like as for example, we can say that I am keeping that this create high quality pharmacy professional is my vision of the institute. Then mission should be offer a well-balanced program of instruction, practical experience, and opportunity for overall personality development. So next is that is program education objectives. It should be formulated by the institute. It is answer to the question, why does this program exist? If we are starting family program, we should know why this program exists. There is a difference between P farm, family, M farm, each branch. So being the academician, you should know what are the objectives, that program education objective. It has to be answered by the management institute in consultation with all stakeholders. So next is that is PEOs. So we understood about this vision, mission, program, education objectives. So this program education objectives, that when you are preparing this program education objectives, you should understand this program education objective should broadly, these statements, they should describe this your student should accomplish after 4 to 5 years after graduation, that the program they will complete. And that is called this program education objectives. And that should be what we wanted to achieve, or what our graduate should achieve after this 3 to 5 years, when they will enter into this real life, and whether they have achieved that or not. And that should be our objectives. And guidelines for preparing, when you are preparing this program education objectives, it should be consistent with the mission of the institution. And that's the important thing. The number of POs should be manageable. There should not be so many POs that you cannot manage. PO should be achievable by the program. PO should be specific. So many times people are just from good engineering institutes, or from good MBA institutes, or good some other institutes. They are taking these program education objectives. But we should think that whether they are aligning with our vision and mission of this. Because it may happen that the institute situated in this metro city, an institute situated at a very rural area, their vision, their mission may be different for this program education objectives. So it's very much important that you should talk with your stakeholders, and then you can prepare these POs. And POs should be specific to the program and not too broad. POs should be based on the needs of the constituencies also. Now, just let's do one exercise, that we have completed this, all this understanding about this. If you are preparing your vision, mission, and POs. So always you'll see that this, I have discussed that there should be this correlation or consistency between the POs and mission of the institution. So if I'm going for this exercise, just everyone is requested to draw this type of very rough table in your notebook or on your paper which you are having. And understand that level 1 is low, level 2 is medium, level 3 is high. This is normally that those who have undergone for all this thing, they know that matter. It is done. Anyone can say that you have. It should not be beautiful. You don't have to submit. It's done. Everyone has done this thing. They have. Anyone? Just draw the same table like I have done this thing. And you don't have to write so many things, M1, M2, M3, POs, A, B, C, D. That's fine. Done? Anyone can say, just unmute your mic, and if you are done, then I can go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So now let's do this exercise. Vision of this institute, XYZ College Pharmacy, that creating competent pharmacy professional to positively impact healthcare of society. On the basis of vision, they have prepared that mission statement M1, M2, and M3. M1 is maintaining quality education through competent faculty members, skills support staff, and state-of-art infrastructure. Maybe majority of institutes, they are keeping like this. The second is that is providing conducive academic environment for this, we can say, learning, research, and opportunity for active professional network also. And third is related with this, we can say this inculcating the values and commitment. For this, we can say ultimately we are preparing this to work in the healthcare segment. So these are the M1, M2, and M3. Now, program educational objectives are 4, A, B, C, and D. Now, what you have to do, you have to map this thing. You know this level of this low level is 1, 2, and 3. In this square, you have to keep by yourself 1, 2, and 3. Try to map this thing. Because so many times it happens that This is done by one professor or NBA coordinator or NEC coordinator and other professors or other teachers. Or sometimes this, the head of the institutes, they have also not done this type of exercise. I think 2 minutes will be more than enough for the same. You have to map how much strong correlation is there between this, our program education objectives and mission. Okay. So if I'll take this A and I will try to match with this M1, how much means it is low level 1, 2, 3, you have to keep in that boxes. It's done. Anyone, those who are completing, just let me know so we can go ahead. It's not examination. It's just you have to do this exercise. And when you are doing this exercise, just reading every day mission and PEOs, that will not imbibe in you. But when you have done this type of exercise, you will really know that yes, PEOs will be of my institute is like this, and it is in correlation with the M1. So I'm trying to achieve ultimately this mission of this my institute. Anyone have completed? I hope it's clear. You have to just put the value in that 1, 2, or 3 as you think how this correlation is there. I think program coordinator can say that whether it is done or not.
Yes, ma'am. Archana ma'am has completed this task.
Okay. So can you say that Dr. Ashna that this how you have correlated? What is the value that you have kept in the first line?
Preeti madam, Manisha madam, Vaipa madam.
Yeah. So anyone can say that, or let's see this thing. Like, this is my evaluation. It may be different. Okay. Why this exercise? Because down the line for CEOs, we are not able to do all this exercise due to time constraint, because outcome-based education, sometimes we can teach for a week to our in our this teachers orientation program. So when we are doing this type of thing, this you should know this. What is the level of this? This is my evaluation. It may be different for you also, but you should be thorough that why you have given this type of this correlations. Okay, so I hope that everyone must have done this type of exercise, and this is the starting point that if you know this thing and you should do this. This is the example you should. Today only you have to just go through the vision, mission, and POs of your institutes, and this in whatever program you are teaching, just try to map this thing. So that will give a quite clear, or we can say this, the path that in which you have to really walk for the next couple of years. So now let's talk about. So we have completed about this first circle, that is vision, mission, program, educational objectives, designing. Okay, now let's go for this designing of program outcomes and course outcomes. And this is the important, or this first, maybe this higher authorities, they are always involved in vision, mission, and PEOs. And this is program outcomes and course outcomes. That is normally this, we can say this teachers, each and every teachers are involved in these activities. So program outcomes or program specific outcomes, that is also known as a graduate attributes that are, let's start with this. Program outcomes are narrower statement that describe what students are expected to know and be able to do by the time of graduation. So program education objectives that we have specified, that we are writing in that what students will be able to do or achieve after 2, 3, 4 years of graduation. Here,
Excuse me, ma'am.
yeah, yeah,
Ma'am, please show the previous slide in which mission statement was written.
yeah,
Before that, before this. Yes, ma'am.
yeah.
No, ma'am, it's previous slide.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I have missed the uh, that slide, so I have taken the screenshot. Thank you.
Oh, welcome. Yeah. Uh, this uh, program outcomes, I think so many times, just I don't know, but I think so many times whenever we are going for lecture, we are trying to take or busy with this screenshot and that. I'm requesting, please focus to this thing because this everything is available on Google. Okay, so this uh, I don't mind that if you'll take this type of thing or do, it's fine. But focus to that what actually I wanted to mean it, because after this lectures, you have to change this. You maybe you have already implemented, but it's the my concern is that it should be implemented throughout your education system, or we can say whole institute. So now let's go for this program outcomes or graduate attributes and course outcomes. Program outcomes, as I've already mentioned, that it's basically describe knowledge, skill, behavior of the students. Program outcomes are already defined. I think when we have applied in the first cycle, this NBA had not given this program outcomes clearly. So, but now in NBA, National Board of Accreditation, Annexer 1 in SAR, they have clearly mentioned program outcomes for pharmacy B Pharm. Okay. So this is predefined by NBA, but yes, we did this type of exercise because we, at that time, NBA had not given this type of thing. But program specific outcomes that you can prepare as per this specific pharmacy program, and that you can define for your institutes. So these are the program outcomes that are enlisted in this NBA SAR, and that is given already very beautifully drafted. And just to this, as this PCI, Pharmacy Council of India is also revising DPharm, BPharm in the process of this, all this and they are also focusing, or we can say they will also give program specific objectives, program outcomes, competency, what they should be developed after completion of this course. So we will get this, but it is very much needed that if we will draft by ourselves, then that will be. Of course, even though we are implementing the whatever is given by our regulatory body, try to prepare by yourself this course, at least COs or PS, this program specific outcomes for your course and for your this program. Now, pro- course outcomes, and this is very much important for each and every teachers, because we are doing this type of exercise, or we did in past. Our each and every teachers, they have in some of the university, they have already given this type of thing. But yes, at your level, you can do little bit modification. Okay, so that course outcomes, it's a statement of what learner is expected to know, understand, or what is able to do at the end of the period of learning. So it's a always verb expressing knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation, creation, etc. So just to go little bit out, means not it actually related with the outcome based education, but about this knowledge. When you are preparing course outcomes of your unit or your course, there are different kinds of knowledge. Maybe everyone knows this thing, but just I wanted to brush this knowledge, that there are four categories of knowledge that we are imparting. One is that is declarative knowledge. Declarative knowledge means the content that our students should know. Okay. Second is that procedural knowledge, knowing how to do things. In practicals, we are going for this how to do this thing. Conditional knowledge, knowing when to do these things. They know when to apply this knowledge. The fourth knowledge is very much important type of knowledge, and that is a functioning knowledge. Knowing how to employ the first three type of knowledge to solve the problems, and that is nothing but the function as an effective professional. And we can say that this at university level, we are expecting at graduate and postgraduate level, we are expecting our students should be able to more than simply recall. If we'll see our this papers, examination paper also, it's nothing but we are focusing mainly on this declarative knowledge, or in practicals, we are focusing on the procedural knowledge. Change this thing. This is very much important. Then that implementation, it may take time, but you can implement at whatever subjects that you are teaching. And it's very much important that we should normally, you know, that students, they are knowing as the uh, if you ask them write about vaccine, they will write so many things. Okay, but in this corona situation, whether if we'll ask that whether they have to take this DNA vaccine or RNA vaccine. So in new situation, they are able to use their knowledge and they are able to give their opinion. They are able to synthesize something, create some new idea, and that's the important thing. And that's the functional knowledge. So we wanted to make our students, they can apply their knowledge, whatever they learn in a new and different situation. They should able to analyze, they should able to interpret, they should able to evaluate, they should able to synthesize information, or we can say in one line, this critical thinking skills should be developed. So this is, we can say, when you are developing your course outcome, it should be like that. It should be student focus, not professor focus. So what we are covering, that should not be there, but what they are learning. When you are preparing COs, alignment between course, program, and institution level should be there. Focus on abilities central to the discipline. Focus on aspect of learning. It should be limited number of. I have seen that sometimes that 7 units are there or 8 units are there. We are preparing 8 to 10 COs. And this is the old story when we prepared, we started in 2011, 12, preparing by ourselves COs. Okay, learning from this Western, this some educational institutions. And we have tried to this, but it should be always 4 to 6. Key purposes should be defined. Specific enough should be measurable. Sometimes we are writing in COs which cannot be measurable or accessible. That should not happen. So while you are preparing this, you should know about this Bloom's. It's a very old taxonomy, 1956. All schools are also good schools. They are implementing since so many years, but you should know about this. This knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, evaluation, and synthesis. Because we are now focusing to the outcome-based education. We have never thought about this. But the first three, that is considered as a lower level of this teaching, learning, and assessing. The another three is considered as a higher level of this thing. Now, after 1956, so many modifications and Bloom taxonomy revises there. But for our understanding, this I wanted to this just talk about this. In remembering, can the student recall or remember the information? In exam, we are doing this type of thing. Understanding, can the student explain ideas or concept? We are saying that, okay, or we are asking in Viva, this, okay, what is the concept behind this, or we can say principles behind this particular practical? Applying, can the student use information in a new way? We can sometime, whatever we have this taught, we are saying that how you can apply. And this, can the student, but we have to focus onto this while you are preparing COs. This, can the student distinguish between different parts? As I mentioned, this RNA and DNA vaccine. Can the student justify or stand? Sometimes they are differentiating, but what they are differentiating, whatever we have given in study material, whatever is given in the small books, they are able to differentiate. So again, that is not the differentiation from that point of view. Then can the student create a new product or new point of view? That's the important thing. So while you are preparing your COs, try to prepare having a higher level of this outcome. I'm not saying it should not go to this or application and understanding point of view. And here you can see that these are the various verbs that I have used or kept that you can use for this when you are this preparing your COs. So whatever verb or this that we can use for higher level, that these are the verb. And if your students are able to do this type of thing, then you can say you have really done this, or we can say this outcome-based education is achieved. So while you are defining, I have kept this cross means this type of, when you are preparing your COs, try to reduce to use this understand and reflect and acquire, but use this type of formulate, analyze, design. Don't only use this thing, but actually use for the formation of COs and assess this your course outcome on the basis of that, assessment of student on the basis of that, that is important. So just one example, that human anatomy and physiology, being a pharmacologist, and it's a very simple, this is the one course for the student. And now if this is the preparation of COs, this is the real example. I'm giving example that what I did in 2011-12. Okay, and I'm committing means because I was not knowing at that time what exactly the CO preparation. So we did this type of thing, me and my professors, that students shall know about the organization of systems. So what I have used, that they should have a knowledge of this, they should have a knowledge of this, they should be able to recall all these terminologies. Okay, so I have prepared COs at least one step ahead, that I thought that what I actually my students should know. Okay, but this is over the period of time, that as I already mentioned, that every day we are learning and we are trying to improve, and that is the actually outcome-based education. Just implementing CO, PO calculation and just designing all this thing is not actually the, it should be this continuous improvement system should be in place. And we have designed afterwards this with little bit high cognition level. Of course, students should able to describe all this thing. They should apply the concept of this for this particular thing. They should analyze the difference between all this thing. They should explain the concept of this. They should comprehend and evaluate the coordinated working pattern of heart and vascular system and its regulation. So this is the way you can prepare your COs for your PIN. When you will prepare, because automatically outcome-based education will not come into the existence. At grassroots level, if each teacher will think of the COs, what exactly they wanted to achieve after completion of their course, or what their student should be able to do. If one person or one professor is designing COs, okay, and others are saying that, okay, we have attained, actually that's not the good practice. So I means as per my experience, maybe this opinion may differ from person to person, but I am talking about my experience. So this is, in short, we have mapped all this thing. This mission, okay, that is mapped with the POs, then POs with the POs on alignment with that, and that's nothing but the graduate attributes, POs are, and then P in alignment that we have prepared the COs also. Okay, so now let's go for this mapping of, because we have not yet mapped this POs and COs. So let's map for this. I have prepared the five, this anatomy subject, five, this my COs are there. Okay, so these five COs are there. 5 units were there, I have prepared 5 POs. And as same level that I have kept that, and my institute have 12 POs, program education objectives for B Farm course, and 2 program specific this objectives are there. So I have mapped, and this should be done with the, in this we can say whole team of this academic team should sit and they have to do this type of thing. It's not an NAC or NBA coordinator they have to do. They have to sit, they have to discuss, they have to argue, and they have to map this type of thing. So this is, we can say that we have done all this mapping. Okay. Now assessment. So the
Excuse
second
me,
question,
ma'am.
yeah,
Ma'am, I have a question.
yeah, you can.
Suppose question CO2, if I cannot map with say 11,
Yeah.
PS 11, can
Yeah.
I put a dash?
Yeah, I have put the dash. You can
Okay.
see that my CO2, because it cannot be possible.
Yes,
Just
yes,
go through this PO, example of POs. How can it
yes.
possible in anatomy and physiology that I am developing each and every POs?
Okay.
Okay, so actually it should be like that.
Okay,
Because,
ma'am.
and that is why otherwise students should learn only one course throughout this 4 years. Okay, and then
Okay.
they will be achieving all these program outcomes. But it should not be like that. We have make this amalgam of this all these subjects because we ultimately want to achieve this POs. Okay, so any question up to this? Because now we are going for the next process. We have completed designing. I think everyone is able to now design their this all this key elements of outcome-based education. They are able to map by themselves. And I hope that in institute, if already mapping is there, you can really digest that thing, whether it is right or wrong. You can discuss with your head or subordinate that whether we can change because this is not the exactly mapping. Okay. So this is the thing that I'm expecting after my lecture. Each and everyone should do this type of thing. Now let's go for assessment. This pro when we have to assess all this thing, we have to assess that course outcome upon course completion. So you are completing your course each semester, you have to go for this course outcome assessment. POs I already mentioned upon graduation, you have to this assess this POs. And few years after graduation, 4 to 5 years, we can go for the POs assessment. Okay. Now there should be anything I wanted to assess, there should be methods and tools that I can use. Of course, very sophisticated, this softwares are also there. But I recommend that if this will be done by this, each and every teacher, they will become part and parcel of this process, then and they will know that whether they have achieved. Otherwise what will happen, that principal or professor HOD will call that teacher and they will say you have not achieved this thing, this is the output of this thing. They will say okay, next time I will do better. Okay, and the same thing will continue. So that will only for the documentation purpose. But actually, if you have to do this type of thing, you have to do by yourself. So direct assessment method, exam, assignment, project, tutorials, labs, presentation, and so on. You can keep that continuation, evaluation, process, everything that you can keep that is as a direct assessment method. Indirect assessment method, that is all this survey, alumni, employer, course end survey, academic peer, all this will be for this, their feedback or that survey can be used as an indirect assessment method. So this, when we are talking about the direct and indirect method, this indirect assessment that, so we have to use this type of method. And if you read so many literature and papers and that is available, they are using different type of direct and indirect assessment, and particularly indirect assessment methods. I think papers are also there from Masa in 2017, paper from Suski that is in 2004. They have also mentioned all this thing. So there are a lot many papers are also available for this literature. Now let's start with this. When designing we have done from up, vision, mission, POs and COs. In attainment, we are going in reverse direction. That's what we have attained. Okay, so let's start with this attainment of COs. So first of all, we have to set our target. Because I wanted to achieve something, then I have to achieve this target. And I can say that proudly that in even though before 2010, this we have not gone for this type of thing, but we were giving this that was very informal. But I know that being a head of the institute and this senior professors, we used to go to these classes in the starting of that, and we were saying that, okay, guys, now what is the target for this year? And students were saying that, okay, all students will clear this examination. And then we were giving that this boost that, okay, those who are not able to clear, let's make the pair, that so intelligent student can make the pair and peer-to-peer education. That's right. So that was very informal. Okay. So, but it's very much important when you are setting this target, you are this students are aware of this target, then it's very easy for us to achieve that thing. So we have to set this, normally this for calculation purpose, that we are keeping this average performance level in the university, like university in your subject 50 percentage or 70 percentage is the average, then you can keep that, okay, my all students should clear above 70 percentage, because that is a bare minimum thing that, okay. So I can keep this or set my target, like medicinal chemistry teachers, and we can say this forensic pharmacy teachers and pharmacology, this pharmacotherapeutics teacher, they will keep this, they will set their C attainment level different. Okay. So this, now we have to this attain in internal examination as well as university examination also. So this is, we can say that two places we have to attain the COs. Okay. So this sometimes so many beside, there's when so many this at platform that teachers are asking that questions after my lecture, and they are saying that madam हमारे university में तो देते ही नहीं है, they are not giving this type of, but yes, whatever data you are getting, on that basis also you can do this assessment. Okay. And you have to prepare your attainment level on that basis. So that can be possible, because you can also get this, how many students got in your subjects more than 70 percentage. Each and every COs cannot be attained, but in general, you can go for this your subject attained, COs attainment. So now let's start with this, or I have kept this, or we can say for anatomy and physiology, score is less than 50%. I will say that it is 1. Score is equal to 50 percentage and less than 60, then I will go for 2, and equal to and greater than about 60. Okay. So now next 30-35 minutes, we will talk about this. So much calculation. Okay. Maybe I may be a little bit faster, but so many literature that I will provide that references, you can just go through in depth also, or in question answer, we can again clarify this matter. So let's start with my once this. We have defined 5 COs, okay, for my subject. Now, CO number 3, I'm evaluating, I'm giving the example that, okay, in my subject, I have taken this CO number 3. You have to do for each and every COs, okay. These are the number of students. I have kept this enrollment number of my students. Okay, I have taken, for example, 6 students. Now, for this CO3, I have asked questions in test 1, internal test 1, question number 3, internal test 2, question number 1, internal test 2, question number 2, open book test I have taken, in that also I have asked 10 marks question. In assignment I have given of this, that is the question number 3 in my assignment, also it's related with the CO3, that is unit 3. I have prepared 5 unit of my syllabus, 5 unit, 1 month CO, so it is very easy for me. Okay, and I think in next new revised syllabus of PCI, because as a part of this committee member, we have prepared in this way. We have prepared this number of units same, number of COs same. So, and so it is very easy for teachers to ask questions also in the examination. So what I did, I have kept this marks of each and every students. Then I have, out of 50, what happened, I have calculated percentage, and on the basis of my target, you know this, we have prepared the target for this course. So how many students? By 4 students, they achieved more than 3. One student achieved this, 2, not more than 3, but 3, 2, and 1 is, that is on 1. So my target was about 60%. So out of 6, 4 students, they got this type of thing. And if I am taking average grading of this, my CO3, that is 2.5. Okay. Now let's go for this. Now I have done this exercise for CO1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for all my students. Okay. Now I'm keeping this like CO3 out of 4, 6 students have cleared this. Out of 6, 4 students, they are having 3 attainment. One has 2 and one has. So I have converted into the percentage attainment of this CO, this percentage of attainment at 2 level and percentage attainment of 3. Okay. Now you can see that in CO4, it's so bad my student has done. Sometimes one course is taken by 2, 3 teachers also. So being a head of the department, you can really evaluate very nicely. And that is the important thing, not just. So you can see that this CO4 is result in overall CO5. I have not achieved in internal examination. I am talking about the internal examination, CO4. So whatever that topic is there, that must be tough or student is not able to understand. If we wanted to do this revision before end semester examination, we can go for this end semester revision for this CO4. And that is called the closing of loop. Just so many times we are doing this exercise whenever this NBA or NEC inspection will be there. We are doing this exercise and we are presenting to this. It's not the right way of working. So let's go for this. What happened? This, my target was 60, 60, 60, and this is a graphical presentation of the same thing that what we did, and we have not achieved, we are not able to achieve. So this, we are not able to achieve this CO4. Okay, that was not attained. Now, internal and external. I wanted to keep that, see that my students, how they did in this internal and external in my subject. So I'll now put again for each CO, this is nothing but the semester end examination result. So I've kept the semester end examination result. This is the sessional result or continuous internal evaluation that what we got. Now I am keeping the weightage, 80% of semester end examination and 20% of continuous internal evaluation. So whatever my student got for one COs, that this will be. If we are not getting this 80% for this CO, each CO, because in university examination, when it is a small university, or autonomous university, they are implementing this type of thing at the external level also. But at bigger university, they are not implementing. You can directly go for this last, finally, this CO, this attainment addition. And you can see that in my course, average grading is 2.83. So this is the way we can say that CO attainment we can calculate, and actually we can take some message for the improvement, or still if we have a time we can go for end semester examination improvement or revision. Okay. Now next is that is PO's attainment. Now we have to go for this PO because we have mapped CO with the POs. So we have already done the mapping. So your course must be having some impact on the POs. After 4 years, students should. So how good they have done. So for that, already we have done this mapping of my course. We have already done this mapping, and already this few, one participant have questioned and I have answered that. my course is having a this mapping with this many POs I'm able to achieve, and the level of mapping is also important. If I'm achieving also this much percentage, this level or mapping level is there. Now I have the value of the CO attainment. I have value of the CO attainment of each and every this COs for my course. I have done this exercise of internal and external for each CO for internal and each CO if possible for external. I have done combined, I have given weightage of 80 and 20 percentage. Now I got this thing. What happened? This, while I am doing this combined, you can see that this when I have combined, when I have done, I have missed one thing over here. When we have done only internal evaluation of the COs, this four students were able to this. When I have merged this external and internal, my students have done good in external examination and 5 students are able to clear this, or we can say attain to my COs in my subject. Now let's go to the POs. Now what I have done, this on the basis of here PO1, you can see that one level is 1. So I have kept this out of this 83.33. This attainment is only this, the mapping is only 1/3. So I have mapped this thing, I have kept the mapping into converted into the percentage. Okay, so I have converted this, the weightage of this particular this POs. If my student is achieving this, how much weightage that they achieve. Now for each course, because my PO should be achieved after each course they have completed. So I'm keeping this each course. So subject 1, subject 2, subject 3, like that I have kept everything and I have tried to map, because here I got for one subject average mapping. Okay, so same thing I have percolated over here. Okay, and I have kept done the calculation for each and every this subject human anatomy, or we can say this analysis and this physical pharmacy and all this thing that I have done, and that will be, we can say that this is very much important. So this I have done this for continuous, we can say, internal evaluation. I have done for the semester end examination, and I have tried to put this, find out this, how much attainment is there for each and every POs by my BPharm course. So let's focus to this. This type of evaluation will helpful for this HOD of each department, because if they can see that, or institute head, they can see that this semester end examination that is in red, and internal examination continuous evaluation is in blue bar. You can see everywhere blue bar is good, higher, except this PO10, and here everywhere this this semester end examination students are not performing good. And this is the message that, or we can, as a head of the department, we can guide our teachers what to do, why this is happening. Is there any, really we have to change our assessment method in the internal examination? What was the problem? We can dig out and we can really do better in the next year also. So this is, we can say that. Now, whatever we have done, this POs, I have talked about, there are two methods. One is direct method, and we have completed direct method for this attainment of POs or specific PSOs. So direct method, we have used this internal, external, viva, this presentation, experimental, everything we have included in the direct method. Internal and external assessment. But indirect method, we have also talked about this, and so many our POs, like leadership and all this thing. These POs can be attained or that can be assessed only with the indirect assessment. And so I can give you a few examples of indirect assessment, how you can calculate indirect assessment. So this is the example of exit survey data. So I have done this, or I have taken this, not all POs. Okay. This is the example. Okay. So this is, I have to do for all POs, that 12 POs and 2 specific PSOs. But I have prepared for exit survey this type of example, or we can say the questions. My PO description is this, that ability to apply the knowledge of biochemistry, analytical chemistry, health science, pharmaceutical fundamentals, and to pharmaceutical science and patient treatment. So my question in that survey was related with that, and this is most important thing while you are preparing questionnaire, your POs, what that it is in alignment with that. So these are the two questions I have asked to each and every student to rate. So they have, whether they have, during their exit from the institute, they have done this type of thing. And I've explained them properly before they are going or before they are doing this type of this exit survey. So it should not be just very good in everything. Okay. So they have ranked, one student have ranked as 3, this 4 rating, and rubrics we have used this 5 rating. We have given this not at all satisfied. We can say this little bit satisfied, like that. You can keep this rubric, so you can use this thing. Total number of students that we have used, that are 6 number of students for the, just for the example point of view. So average weighted, that I got this 4.5 for this question, 3.83 for this question. For this particular PO1, I have attained 69.41. Okay. Here, number of students will be 60, 50, 100, whatever it is. You will get this, how much you have attained this. From this exit survey attainment, you can keep this, that is 69.41%. Like this, I have calculated, I have to calculate for each POs, okay, and each PSOs. So this is only one exit survey data analysis. So coming back to again that, we have done this continuous internal evaluation, then sessional semester end examination. I have done the student exit survey. Same way I have done this completed alumni survey. I have completed employer survey. I have to prepare that survey form and I have to take this. And from that, I have kept the weightage. I thought this internal evaluation is 50%. This weightage is up to you. If you have a more number of survey, you can keep this weightage accordingly, but it should be pre-decided. Then I have kept this, whatever they have attained over here, 69.41, 69.65. Here you can see that I have converted into 10% of that and I have taken this thing. And now you can see that this finally my PO attainment for PO1 is what, PO2 is what, PO3 is what, PO4, PO5, like this. And this is the summary result. You can go for this PO attainment. So my target was PO attainment. Even though at some places in CO, I'm not able to achieve this. Here, my target was this PO attained. I have attained all these POs. That is a target attainment. Okay. So in nutshell, we can say that if we are in so many institute or this last time in one question, every year we are attaining the 60, then this 70%, 80% each POs, and we are happy. No, what we have to do? We have to set our standard for the next year at a higher level. Same way in COs also. You achieved, all your students achieved, you are happy. But you kept university average as a standard. Now you have to go ahead. You have to keep for your subject. Instead of that, we have kept 70% or 60%. Increase that and keep it as a 75% your target. So same way in POs also, if we are achieving, institute is achieving their POs or that for that particular course continuously, then next year we can set our target at 70%. So then and then continuous improvement can be possible. So in short, we can say that the second portion I have completed, and just to brief that, whatever uh, this program outcomes or program specific outcomes have, so we have a targets. We are calculating these PO attainment gap. Gap may be two ways. If it is higher always, try to keep next year your POs or target should be higher. And if it is not achieved, we have to this committee should work, academic committee should work, and they have to prepare action plan, and that should be discussed and that should be implemented. So always this PO attainment, as we have discussed from this COs, we have attained through these courses, we have attained through the student portfolio, indirect survey. These are the various things, and we can go for indirect and direct calculation of POs attainment. So this is about this POs and COs attainment. Now still we have to go for a PEO, Program Education Objectives Attainment, that is after 3 to 4 years. So I'm not giving so many examples, only one example is like I have kept leadership quality as of this. Whenever you are POs assessment, when you are doing, I have seen in so many POs assessment feedback form, like leadership is there, we are asking to our employer, my student is working since 3 years, or like Dr. Naitik is working at AR College of Pharmacy, and if I'll ask that to Dr. Jolly Parikh, madam, that madam, he is having a leadership qualities, she will say yes or no. We don't have to ask these questions. You really wanted to go for a good survey. Instead of that, we have to ask questions or define question at which level or position of a graduate are working in your organization, or how many this uh, type of workshop or this programs they have this conducted or organized or participated, that really speaks about his leadership, and that is called this real. So PEO assessment can be done. This tool can be used, employer satisfaction survey, that should be done yearly. Alumni survey also we can do, placement record and higher education record, and there are so many other tools are also there. These are few examples that we can do for a PEO assessment. So this is, we can say about this assessment. We have completed CO assessment, PO assessment, because we have mapped COs. If we are PO assessment, not only from the COs, or we can say direct assessment tools, we have done this through this various survey indirect method also. And then finally PEOs, that really head of the institute or leader should go for a PEOs assessment, program education objectives assessment. But the most important, the last thing, that is few slides, that closing the loop. We have to close the loop. Besides, otherwise everything, we will get this good score in NBA, we will get this good score at the NEC, where your professors, your HOD will be happy, your KPA, KRA or promotion will be there. But actually, whether our institute is really progressing, or whatever we have promised to our students, that we are really doing that thing or not. So we have to close the loop at course level, program level, at institute level. And that's the important thing that we all have to do. And I think that's the important. And we have to do attainment analysis for continuous improvement, course delivery, assessment, and curriculum level. So questions for closing the loop. What do the finding tell us? So whatever finding that we got, what actually are finding? Don't just see the values, but actually, what is the interpretation of this value? Why this happened? Which improvements are critical for greater effectiveness in curriculum? Pedagogy improvement is required, infrastructure improvement is required, delivery system improvement is required. This is really, this brainstorming session should be done by this academic committee of the institute, and they have to do this type of thing. How good is our assessment system? and how can we improve further. Okay, so that's a continuous process. Express learning as a year-wise chart or table for a better appreciation. So this you should express this thing, and that's very much important that we have to do in this way. This this is nothing but POs, and I think there is some mistake in this. Uh, but just to show you that this total attainment of 2014, 15, 15, 16, 16, 17, and 17, 18, each PO attainments, and you can see that. Okay, we are very happy. Our students must be doing great, and we are happy. But being a head of the institute at professor level, if you see this graph, you can see that there is in so many POs progressively decrease is there, and this is the alarming situation for the institute. So this will not only help each and every teacher, but for management, for academic committee, they can use this data for this particular to decide the policy, to reframe this all this curriculum delivery, assessment, and all this system. So that is important. So expected changes to implement after this 1.5 hour. I am expecting that all will review this course content to suit specified, pardon, learning outcomes, industrial need, job specification, professional body requirement. Okay, teaching learning method should be introducing innovative, flexible teaching method, delivery tools to develop POs and PO in students and graduates, assessment and evaluation tools. Okay, data and evidence collection. These are the expected changes to implement OB. If your institutes and you are doing this thing, it will be very easy for you to implement OB at your institutes. Successful implementation, that is very much important. I'm saying successful implementation means closing the loop. If you are not closing the loop, and yes, this is the most important thing, continuous quality improvement. In first slide, I have mentioned this thing, closing the loop is so much important. If we'll not do this thing, continuous improvement will be not there, and this everything will remain into this, we can say either in PPT or we can say in our policy document. This should not happen. So I request each and everyone to really this go for this implementation, successful implementation OBE, and then it will be very easy for, we can say indirectly we are implementing this NEP also. So this is the, we can say that one step, if we will implement this successfully, the one step to really this implement, or we can say this whatever, this dream that is seen by our Prime Minister while he has discussed this, or we can say this, announce this NEP policy, we can really contribute, meaningful contribution will be there from our side. So this, like I can very briefly say that this, as I already mentioned, we have started this preparation in 2011, 2013. We had an inspection, and we were accredited since 2014 for this, and since 2010 in this with NEC. Little bit success story why this happened. This is the analysis that being a head of the institute since so many years I have done. Whatever these teachers and students say what they want. Always they have a liberty, or they can speak, and they can, then this principal, teachers and staff, they do what they are saying. They are saying we will give it, or we will give this type of quality education. They all will try to achieve this thing. Then we are trying to prove it through placement, paper publication, patent, awards, and everything. And we are continuously improving through IQAC. Our IQAC cell is doing audit of each and everything, and we are trying to continuously close the loop. IQAC is doing audit of anyone, and we are trying to do this. And it's not the criticism, it's for the improvement. And we are trying to this imbibe in each and every teachers and staff members that it's for our own improvement. And so this is nothing but the small success story. With this, I can say that this, in this take-home message, this only these two things. That is, one is that you can do two things: developing a clear set of learning outcomes around which all your system of academic or your education system or your institution system should focus. All components of this education system that should be focused around these learning outcomes, and establishing the condition and opportunity within the system, because that is also very much important. We have done everything, but that environment, that condition, that opportunity within the system that enable and encourage all students to achieve those essential outcomes, that should be provided to the students. We have done everything from our side, from academic side, but if we are not able to really provide that type of environment, condition, opportunities to the students, and they should be aware of this matter. So this is, we can say, these are the two main take home message for each and every participants. And I will be very happy. And you know that I've already discussed that everything is available on Google, on Wikipedia. But this is during 1.5 hours. I tried to discuss about my own journey, and whatever we have this continuously tried to improve. That's what I discussed with you. And thank you so much. And because of that, I think Wikipedia will be really this jealous to us. And this is a thing that you can take a picture or screenshot of this, picture. These are the, because as per AICT, we have to provide you this learning material. These are the learning materials that I have referred for preparation of this lectures, and a few things definitely that I have discussed from my experience, but I think this is more than enough for you to start with. Thank you so much. Again, thanks a lot to AICT, as well as Dr. Manu Vora, as well as coordinator, Dr. Naitik Trivedi, Young and Dynamic Coordinator, and Dr. Jolly Parikh, Principal of AR College of Pharmacy, for giving me this opportunity to interact with this learned delegates. Thank you so much, and I am ready to take this. Any questions are there, if coordinator will permit the same. I think still 5 minutes is there.
Now the session is open for the question and answering. If any participant wants to know about the CO and PO, then you can directly contact to the ma'am and you can ask here.
Yeah, my email address is hotmail.com. Always we are saying that if no questions are there, either it will be so bad, or it will be so simple that everybody understood. I don't know, but we need real feedback from your side for this lecture so we can improve for the next lecture. Any suggestions? If no questions, any suggestions? Because so many professors are there.
Yes, ma'am. It was, I can say that quite effective. We have gone through a long journey in short durations, which completed a course which takes generally a 4 week program.
Yeah.
Generally, as we see that outcome-based education is itself a large area which requires long duration, but you have covered in 1.5 hour. So we have learned a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your feedback. Anyone have any questions? I think thank you so much for taking hearing. And again, lot of thanks to Dr. Naitik Trivedi and Madam for this opportunity.
Thank you
Can
very
I,
much, ma'am.
can I
We
leave?
organizing committee very much thankful to you because of you have given your consent from your busy schedule, ma'am. Ma'am, you have nicely covered the outcome-based education, critical analysis, and you said about the traditional education method and the outcome-based education method. it's a difficult task, ma'am, to map the course outcome with the program outcome. But in a simple way, you cleared our doubt. And I want to say one more thing that Dr. Tejal Gandhi, ma'am, is not only a speaker right now. She was my teacher, and she is ideal for me. She has achieved lots of award in her career, and I was very lucky that I have completed my study under the best teacher of the India, and I learned a lot of things, ma'am, from that time. And nowadays I feel students when I am seeing you alive, ma'am. And thanks again, ma'am, giving your plenary session from your busy schedule, ma'am.
It's my pleasure. And with your permission and Dr. Jolly Madam's permission, can I leave this session if you don't mind? Can I leave
Yes,
this
yes,
session?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you very
Thanks
much,
to
ma'am.
all participants and best wishes for this program.